Hello once again, all my comic collecting friends out there in YouTube land. Comic Order 410 here, doing installment part 13 of my Keys variants and such. And once again, these are some books I would have shown had I found them earlier. So I'm attempting to do them in some kind of order as I was putting my books in order. But I'm going to show these and I'll get to some more G books. Pardon me. So let's get started. This is Agent X #1 from Marvel. Written by Gail Simone with art by Udon Studios and Alvin Lee in particular. And that's the same team that wrote Deadpool up to the end of its run. And that Deadpool series launched directly into Agent X. And those of you that like, like Deadpool and like that kind of stylized humor, you'll like this book because not only it's the same team, but it's often inferred through this book that Agent X may be Deadpool, Mr. Wade Wilson. But I won't say that whether they even answer that or not in this series, but it's often inferred. And as you know, Deadpool's wacky and he likes to break the fourth wall and like complain to his editors and writers and talk to the fans, and the other characters in the comic think he's crazy, like who you talking to. But he also likes to reference that he knows DC comics exist, and it's pretty funny to me. And in more recent series after Agent X, he's referred to Agent X as, oh, that's my Earth 2 counterpart, like making fun of the DC multiverses. So, but anyway, this is issue #1 of Agent X with awesome manga style art by Udon Studios and Alvin Lee, who are most famous for their work on Street Fighter. Here's issue 2. Another awesome Alvin Lee cover, and I can't remember her name, but I believe this is the girl who was the Punisher for a brief while. Agent X #3, another Alvin Lee cover there. Like I said about humor, Evan Dorkin, who's got a really off-the-wall sense of humor, is the writer-creator of Space Ghost Coast to Coast and Milk and Cheese. He wrote this 2-issue run here on Agent X, issue 10. And issue 11. Like I said, if you really like Deadpool, you might want to pick these up because they're, in comparison to a lot of other Deadpool stuff right now, they're not that expensive. So there's number 11, part 2 of Mr. Dorkin's run. And here we have an issue written by Daniel Way with Kyle Hotz on art. So a lot of well-known people worked on this book back then. Now we're back to, with issue 13, it's back to Gail Simone and Udon Studios and Alvin Lee. And issue 13 was part 1 of the Deadpool walk-in story. And that's Taskmaster right there. So, and here's part 2 of Deadpool walk-in storyline. It's issue 14. Awesome Alvin Lee cover. And I'll show you issue 15, part 3 of Deadpool walk-in. Has same exact pose. Same exact pose, but it's Deadpool in a big top going for the trapeze. Cool Alvin Lee covers there. Neat book. I recommend picking it up, peoples. Recommend it. Okay. As a kid, I was a fan. I called him Kazar. I've always called him Kazar. I know many people say it's Kazar, and it probably is, but I've always called him Kazar. And, when I was really young, they relaunched Kazar at #1, and I remember my brother bought the first couple issues. And then I started reading comics when I was like, got some when I was 4 and started reading them myself when I was like 5 and 6, and took over his Kazar books. So that was one of the first books that I started reading from #1 in my really young comic reading days. So as I got older, I wanted to go back and get other Kazar stuff. So I got, this is not a near mint copy by any means. This is my Astonishing Tales #1, featuring Kazar and Doctor Doom with a Marie Severin cover there. And I believe either Marie Severin or John Buscema did all these covers. But yeah, Kazar fought Kraven in issue 1. It's not too bad, but certainly not near mint. Got some issues. Here is Astonishing Tales #2. I think this is a John Buscema cover. Buscema, however you pronounce it. Never really knew how to pronounce it. And I should have asked Sal because I met him this year. But anyhow, Here's issue 2 with Kraven. It's in even more rough shape than number 1. Here's my number 3, also in really rough shape. I believe that's a Marie Severin cover, back to her. Here we have issue 4. Again, this one's a little roughed up. Astonishing Tales number 5, and this is one of my favorite issues because of this. How cool is that? Dr. Doom versus the Red Skull. Epicness. Awesome book. And this, thank God this one's in better shape than 2, 3, and 4. So at least number 1 and 5 are amongst the ones that are in best shape. Because number 6 is really rough. And this is part 1 of Dr. Doom's storyline with the Black Panther there. Very cool stuff. Issue 7. Again with Doom versus Black Panther. This one's in pretty nice shape. And issue number 8. By this time they were giving Kazar the whole cover and giving Dr. Doom the little byline at the bottom. But pretty cool cover nonetheless. Big fan of those. And while I'm showing the Astonishing Tales, I might as well show. These are, this is Kazar Volume 1. And I believe Astonishing Tales was 1970. I don't remember what year this was, but it's definitely 1970s. And it's also got the, you know, the Marvel Bronze Age giant size spine here. And it's actually, the spine's not too bad on this. And this is a bright, sharp copy of Kazar number 1, except for the big flaw, little tear there that turns into a major fold halfway across the top. If that wasn't there, you're looking at a very fine plus on this book, easy. But very bright, gorgeous looking Marie Severin cover. I really, really like this cover. And even though it guest stars Daredevil and the X-Men, they didn't put him on the cover, oddly enough. But there's Kazar number 1. Again, Marie Severin on the cover of Kazar number 2, and this one's a little more banged up. Daredevil guest starring. I don't know who the Plunderer is. Kazar's Kevin Plunder, so I don't know who the Plunderer is. I should know that, probably. I should know that. Rings a bell. 70s Marvel, of course. Oh well. Issue number 3. Kazar goes to visit Spidey in the city. And again, an incredible Marie Severin cover. I really like this cover. This one's in pretty nice shape. Very, very cool. Daredevil's also in that issue. I showed these recently for a contest, but I didn't find these when I was going through my Batman books. But this is my first print of Batman Dark Knight Returns, book 1, and this is a very high-grade copy. I mean, this book is near flawless. If I can get some focus. There we go. I mean, it's near flawless. The only flaw, I gotta zoom in, you can start to see a tiny, tiny flake of white there, almost the most minute rubbing under the lightning bolt on the bottom left corner of the spine there. But that's it. Very high-grade copy of that. Classic, groundbreaking Frank Miller Batman story. Changed the industry, along with Watchmen. My number 2 is banged up. It needs to be upgraded. It's got that crease from top to bottom where whoever read it just opened the Prestige format cover way back, and that just creates a white crease that breaks color when you do that. But awesome Frank Miller cover, but I need to upgrade that one. My number 3 and my number 4 are very sharp as well. If I can get some focus. There we go. Batman Dark Knight number 3. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous copy. And again, the only flaw you could consider a flaw, if I can get it, that little tiny fleck of white showing at the bottom of the spine there. And I love this cover. Epic Frank Miller cover for an epic confrontation. Man, I love this story right here. This is my favorite issue, reading-wise and cover-wise of this series. Love that. And again, perfect, except for that minute flaw. But I'd still consider, if I can get it in focus, see that just a little bit of white showing, just barely a fleck of it. But I'd still consider that 1, 3, and 4 near mint. Alright, don't get jealous, Mr. Hippie, but I found this in a dollar bin. I know, I don't know what it was doing there. Prestige format, Batman Might Fall, a Legends of the Dark Might special, and there he is, Bat-Mite. The crazy thing about this is it was drawn by Kevin O'Neill, who not only drew a lot of the Hellraiser stuff by Clive Barker, but he did the he drew every issue of Alan Moore's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So kind of weird to see him drawing that. But yeah, Bat-Mite got his own Prestige format one-shot. You might be lucky enough to find this, Mr. Hippie, but I doubt you'll be lucky enough to find it in a dollar bin. I don't know what it could be doing in there. Something that great. Moving along. I want to say this was maybe 1991 or 90. But this is the Books of Magic 4-issue mini from DC. And it was written by Sandman scribe Neil Gaiman. And it's about Tim, I think his name was Tim Hunter, but little Timothy finds out he's going to become the most powerful sorcerer in all of the DC universe. So a lot of the magic-based characters take him on this kind of tour, this tutorial of all the different magical corners of the DC universe. And as you can see, it's Phantom Stranger here. And each of the 4 issues took him to a different part of the DC magical universe and different types of characters. So Neil Gaiman decided to get a different artist for each of the 4 issues, which I thought was cool. And this issue, book 1, was done by John Bolton. Issue 2, painted by Scott Hampton. Very cool. Book 3, my favorite, painted by Charles Vess. Awesome cover there. And Books of Magic, book 4, painted cover there by Paul Johnson. And interiors. So very cool read, very unique idea in terms of the execution there. Here is my Godzilla number 1. It's a pretty nice copy. Has a small flaw near the bottom staple there, right at the top, if you can see it. And also a tiny, tiny fox ear, but it does fold there. Tiny fox ear in the bottom right corner. But classic cover, The King of Monsters by Herb Trimpe. And he's a nice guy. I met him at Baltimore Comic Con this year, and he signed my books. Him and his wife are super nice people. And he's truly a legend in the business. I have a number 2, but it's pretty rough. But here's my Godzilla number 3. Again, Herb Trimpe signed this cover that he did. And this is a really sharp copy of the Champions, Angel, Iceman, Herc, and Black Widow fighting Godzilla. Pretty cool issue. Gorgo number 7. This is the only Gorgo book I own, and that's a damn shame because I really, really need to get some of the Steve Ditko Gorgo issues. It's really, really something I need to get on. But cool issue nonetheless. Pardon me. This is pretty cool. This is from Goon creator Eric Powell. This is the 2003 Chicago Comic-Con sketchbook. And this was limited, I think, to 2,000 or 3,000 copies. I think it's signed and numbered on the inside or the back. But racy pictures inside, ring-a-ding-ding. And awesome sketch cover. Look at that. That is awesome. Eric Powell, Goon. Here's another one. This is, I want to say this, 2008. This is the San Diego Comic-Con Eric Powell sketchbook. Sketches from the Sick and Twisted Mind of Eric Powell. 1,118 out of 3,000 copies. Another very cool sketch cover. He's doing did some awesome covers on Dark Horse's Creepy too. I don't have Goon number 1, Avatar Goon number 1. You'll pay $150 to $200 easy for a copy of that right now. Here is my Avatar Goon number 2, and it's in really, really nice shape, actually. Really nice shape. Awesome cover. Even his early work, Eric Powell, is already, pretty developed. Now, there's a small ding, actually, if you can see it. Kind of right there above the staple. A little bit above the bottom staple, but not too bad, honestly. It's a pretty sharp copy. Avatar Goon number 2. This is my Avatar Goon number 3. Again, very sharp copy and a very cool painted cover by Powell. And the next publisher of the Goon was Albatross Exploding Funny Books, if I can get focused on the logo there. Apologize for that. Something about the lighting in here at night, it just doesn't want to focus on these shiny Mylars, so I apologize. But, yeah, this is Eric Powell's Albatross Exploding Funny Books, Goon number 1. And I want to say it was like 2008, 2009 maybe, but he came to the Baltimore Comic Con and I met him and got my number 1 signed up there at the top. Again, it doesn't want to focus. There we go. Eric Powell signed it. Awesome stuff. Love the Goon. Don't have 2 or 3. Here's Albatross Exploding Funny Books, Goon number 4. Another cool cover by Eric Powell. And this is, I forgot to grab it, but I have a CGC'd 9.8 of his newest series from Dark Horse. But I've showed that before. But here's Dark Horse Goon number 41. And he had Mark Buckingham as the guest artist on this, and I got it signed at Baltimore this year too. Finally met Bucky, and he was super nice. Really nice guy. Sorry, making some room here. Here is the Goon Noir number 1. And I have all 3 of these. That's Eric Powell down there in the bottom. But look at some of the people who worked on this issue. Patton Oswalt, Mike Plug, Bill Morrison, Steve Niles, Ryan Sook. Awesome stuff. Awesome book. Satan's Sodomy Baby. The Goon Satan's Sodomy Baby. And this is a crazy... It's funny, but this is a messed up story, but has a warning right on the front. Warning, this comic contains material unsuitable for children. It's filled with vile, morally reprehensible subject matter. Or morally reprehensible subject matter, sorry. Subject matter that is quite possibly illegal in some states, and if it's not, it should be. Do not open this comic if you are under the age of 18. Do not open this comic if you have strong religious convictions or even the smallest hint of human decency. Do not open this comic if you love Satan. Do not open this comic if you have strong political beliefs. Do not open this comic if you are homophobic. Do not open this comic if you are a racist. Do not open this comic if you love farm animals. In fact, unless you have no strong feelings about anything, this comic isn't the comic for you. And then in fine print, unless you have a sense of humor, by Eric Powell. Funny book, but yes, it could be offensive. Green Arrow, admittedly, is one of the characters, aside from his Green Lantern, Green Arrow stuff, I don't have a whole lot of his books, and it's what I get for sleeping on him. So I was always like, oh, I need to get the Kevin Smith, Phil Hester run. I never did, and now that the show's successful, they've gone up. So, such is life. But here's Green Arrow number 75, and it's where he finally proposes to Black Canary. And I believe they had a giant-sized marriage special in Justice League. Here is Green Arrow 31, Rise and Fall, The Fall of Green Arrow. And, oh God, what is his name? I want to say it's Caselli. But it's the same guy who did the art on the Cry for Justice miniseries. Gorgeous painted covers. I think it's Stefano Caselli. I might be wrong about his name, but awesome stuff there. Beautiful cover. This is a great story. It went between Green Arrow and Justice League, and then went into Cry for Justice. Great stuff. And here's an awesome cover again on Green Arrow 32. Another tie-in with the Rise and Fall. Awesome freaking cover there. This is a good one. I should have opened it and showed the art, because the interior, every page is painted just like that cover is by the very talented Mike Grell. And this is probably, of what I've read, my favorite Green Arrow story. And this is Green Arrow the Longbow Hunters. It was a 3-issue prestige format that was going to relaunch Green Arrow as a kind of more adult-oriented, mature readers, gritty, realistic character. They were going to kind of take him out of the superhero stuff and out of the Justice League, and make him stop in like a detective kind of thing with solving murders and stopping non-super powered threats. But it was really good. Beautiful art. That's book 1. Oh boy. Here's book 2. Beautiful cover. This is probably my favorite cover of this series, of the 3. It's book 2. And book 3 by Mike Grell. Great stuff. I recommend that if you like Green Arrow heavily. This is Now Comics Green Hornet #1, and it's an awesome painted cover. It says by Butler. Not sure who that is, but it's a good cover. Now Comics didn't stick around too long. And this is the Green Hornet relaunch by Dynamite that they did right before the movie. And Kevin Smith actually wrote this book. It didn't do too well, but it had a really cool cover to #1 by George Jeantet. And got a good deal on it, so I picked up the sketch cover. I don't know if it's a 1 in 25 or 1 in 50 or what, but got it cheap, so I got the sketch cover as well. That series didn't last too long. But, once again, thank you all for taking the time to check my books out. I always appreciate it. I always enjoy sharing them with you. I always enjoy seeing everybody's new books. Sorry, again, it ran a little long. But everyone have a good one. Take care of yourselves and enjoy your comic book reading.